Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guest today is James Albright. James, thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it and could not do any of this without you. And we also appreciate the amazing card in the mail. Thank you so much. And if you guys want to be house guests today, check out our Patreon link in the info box below or send us some mail. We love getting mail. And I also wanted to wish a very, very happy birthday to Catherine B in Canada. Yay! I hope you're enjoying your summer. And I think you said you have off this week, right? So I hope you're enjoying that too. That's amazing. And enjoy your lunch with your family tomorrow. Okay, so let's dive right in. Yesterday we saw Jack was evicted by a vote of 6-2. He is off to the jury house. And just to remind you guys, the 2 votes to keep him were Sis and Christie. Tommy decided, later bruh, I am voting you out because I'm gonna save face with Jackson. So luckily for Tommy, he won HOH on his birthday. There's just something so magical about Big Brother and birthdays, isn't there? So then the feeds came back after the live show, and Tommy goes to the target bedroom with Christie, Sis, and Nick. And he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I want to talk to everyone and then figure something out. But he doesn't want to make a decision before talking to everybody. So he tells the 3 of them, you guys are good this week. You don't have to worry. Yeah, Nick is like right back in there with them. He is playing that middle. And this week, he's with the former 6. So anyway, Sis leaves. And Tommy's still talking to Christie and Nick, and he's saying, yeah, the audience reacted when I voted out Jack. Yeah, because they were like, damn, this guy's voting against his boy. So Christie says, it's okay, it doesn't matter. You winning the HOH tonight was God telling you that it was okay for voting out Jack. Oh my God! Okay. So Christie leaves after that. I mean, what can you say after you've said that? You can't follow that up. So she leaves, and Nick and Tommy are chatting alone, and Nick needs to clean up a little bit. He needs to explain himself for last week. So Nick says, oh, I was in a really weird spot, and I threw the HOH to you because I want to be able to play in the next double eviction, and obviously I trust you. But next week isn't a double eviction. They're just gonna assume from here on out that every eviction's a double eviction until it actually happens, if it does. So Nick says, I'm really only loyal to you, Sis, and Nicole. And then he says, and I do like Christie again. Yeah, now that Christie's ally is in power. So then he backtracks and says, oh, I've always liked Christie, I've always liked her. So then he says, I don't want you to think that I was working with anyone else. He says I was good with other people because I had to form other relationships when I was kicked out of the alliance, out of Grateful. So that's what that was all about. But like, I am with you, Sis, and Nicole, and Christie somewhat. So Tommy says, Nick, you don't have to explain any of that to me. It's not even about the alliance anymore. He says, it's about me and you. I work great with you. I effing love you. And this is the beginning of a long night of Tommy telling everyone he effing loves them. Seriously. So Tommy's whole thing this week, he keeps saying that he wants to work on building stronger bonds with individuals as opposed to like forming more alliances. So that's funny because that's exactly what Jack was saying in his campaigning. It's almost like Tommy came up with Jack's campaign, right? Okay, so Kat has a quick one-on-one with Tommy. She needs to smooth things over as well. So she's explaining her vote, and she says she felt like neither Jack nor Jackson were really directly affecting her game, which is crazy because she was Jack's #1 target. I don't know if she knew that and she was ignoring it or like she didn't realize that, but whatever. So she says that she voted Jack out, well, #1 because she didn't really have much of a relationship with him. But she says really it was because she was trying to keep Jess safe. And when Jack was proposing an alliance to her, which was BS, it sounded like Jess was gonna be one of his bigger targets. So she was like, no, I need to vote him out for Jess. So Kat says, moving forward, Jackson is still her #1 target, but it just wasn't the time to vote him out last week. Yeah, okay. He is not her #1 target, come on. So then Tommy says, I totally understand, and if I was not heavily aligned with Jack, I probably would have voted him out too. But you did! You did vote him out. I think he means he would have wanted him out. Okay. Excuse me? Long day? Okay, short night. So Jackson and Sis were chatting in the Target bedroom. They're discussing like sleeping arrangements because now everybody's rearranging. And Sis says, I don't even want to sit near Cliff. I don't want to be in the same vicinity as him. I effing hate him. Yo, she's really gonna blame Cliff for Jack's eviction. She's really gonna put all the blame on Cliff not taking that deal and voting for Jack to stay. She just sounds like such a brat. It's hard to listen to her when she's on the feeds. I'm sorry. So then Sis and Jackson both say that they weren't going to target each other. They never were. They've never had an issue with each other. And yeah, okay. And Sis also wants him to know that even though she and Christie are close, she still sees what Christie is doing and how she's playing this game. So like she is not being blinded by Christie anymore, so don't get it twisted. So Sis and Jackson both agree that Jack was really far up Christie's ass and it ruined his game. I think Jack played a role in that as well. So Jackson says now Christie's game is blown to shit. Alright, so Jackson says he doesn't know where Tommy's head is at this week. He doesn't know what he's gonna do. And Sis says, me neither, but Tommy wants to talk to her, and Tommy had already told her, I'm only gonna be bouncing things off of you this week, which is total BS. But she tells Jackson, yeah, he's gonna talk to me, so I will let you know what I find out. So she says she's thinking maybe Tommy's gonna play it safe and then try and do a backdoor. She says one of the easiest things would be for Jackson to go up as a pawn, because then Tommy wouldn't have to get like extra blood on his hands. But Jackson he's kind of nervous that he wouldn't stay against people from the other side. That makes him a little bit worried. So Sis is going through the votes. She's like, well, look at this. You would have me, Holly, Christie, and Nick. So that's 4 votes against Kat, Nicole, and Jess. So from this breakdown, we can obviously see that Sis is gonna wanna make Cliff the target this week. She's already not counting him as a vote. So yeah, that's where we're at with her. So Holly and Jackson were talking to Sis in the kitchen, and again, Sis is saying Jackson might go up, but as a pawn, not a target, so you don't have to freak out. But Sis is saying she would like to see Cliff backdoored this week. See, you knew it was coming. So Jackson says, okay, well, I will volunteer to go up as a pawn if that keeps Holly off the block. I don't want the 2 of us to be up there together. He said he'd be cool with going up against like Nicole or Jess. But Holly is kind of worried that Christie is going to get Tommy to target her this week because she feels like Christie's after her. And Sis says, no, I won't let that happen. Apparently this is also Sis's HOH this week. So apparently also Jack told them all before he left to get back together and like reform the 6, but like as 5 this time. Blech. So they're all talking about it and it sounds like they're gonna do it. Ugh. At least for now. So then Tommy comes over and he says he's not putting up any of them, like anyone from their 5, formerly 6. He says he's 80% sure, but he's got to talk to everyone, he's got to get information, and he's got to come up with the best plan. So then Jackson pulls Tommy aside to chat in the boat lounge. He's like, I'm gonna get a head start on my one-on-one chat with you. So Jackson tells Tommy, you know me, I'm not fake, I'm not gonna kiss your ass. Sure, you're not. Oh my god. So Tommy's telling him, you don't need to, you know, it's me and you talking, like you don't have to kiss my ass. But Jackson says, Jack told me before he left that I can trust you and Sis. So Jackson's like, I'm not asking to go up on the block. You know, he's not really volunteering to be a pawn, but he says he will understand if he does end up going up as a pawn. Tommy says, I wasn't even thinking of that, but I guess I should consider it, right? Gotta consider all options. But they're both pretty nervous that Jackson might be the one to go, even if he's just supposed to be a pawn. So Tommy's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna actually use you or not. So he says he's pretty sure that Jackson's not going up on the block. And he says he thinks he knows who he's gonna target, but he doesn't want to say it to anyone. Come on, you really think that Tommy's not gonna tell Christie? And he already told Sis that he would tell her. So I think he's basically saying, Jackson, I don't know if I can fully trust you, so I'm not gonna tell you. I mean, he's not telling other people too, but if they're reforming this 5, wouldn't you tell your alliance? But Tommy's like, no. So he says, I'm not sure who I can trust or who is working with who anymore. Ouch. And he's like, it might not even be that I'm afraid to tell you, but it might be one of your friends going up or whatever. And he says there's not that many people left, and I'm not going to be targeting 6 shooters. Boo. Okay, so Tommy also reveals he's not planning on doing a backdoor this week. He wants to handle this the way that Jess handled her HOH. He said he loved the way she did it, and he hopes that he can be just as good. So Jackson lets Tommy know, I'm not targeting you. I was never targeting you, blah, blah, blah. I thought you were fake. Okay, so no one knows what Tommy's gonna do. Nick and Nicole were talking, and Nick says that he thinks that it could be Cliff and Kat going up. Nicole thinks that it could be Cliff and Jackson. Kat is worried that she's gonna be going up with Cliff, and that Tommy's gonna try and reunite the 5. Yep. And Cliff thinks that he's going up with Jackson. So it seems like most people think it's gonna be some combination of Cliff, Kat, and Jackson. So then Christie and Sis were chatting in the target room, and Christie says it almost doesn't matter what Tommy decides to do this week, because it's not gonna be us going up. Like, we're gonna be good. I trust him. So like, who cares? We'll see how you feel about that later. So they talk about Jack wanting them all to work together again. Ugh, I guess the savior has spoken, so they have to do what he wants. So Christie is saying Tommy winning is a sign from the universe that they should work together. That's what Jack would want. Oh, yeah. So Christie thinks that Tommy might put up Jess and Kat this week. And Sis is like, maybe, but Sis really wants Cliff out this week. And Christie says, yeah, I'm down for that too. Sounds great. But Christie also says Kat is a very dangerous player. She knows Holly on the outside. She will be a link for Holly to the other side of the house. So she's pretty dangerous, meaning Christie wants Kat out. And she doesn't care if you want Cliff out, because this is the Christie show. So Christie says, at the same time, you know, she still does think that it would be good to get rid of Cliff. And she says, in life, there are lessons to learn. Cliff should have taken the deal, and he didn't. And there are consequences for that. Oh my God. How ridiculous. So Sis agrees, yeah, Kat is dangerous, but she thinks that Kat will continue to throw HOH competitions as long as she's not, like, noticeably on anyone's radar. Because Kat is always telling everyone, I don't have targets, I don't know who I'm targeting, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, no, Kat's gonna throw the HOH competitions, we don't have to worry about her. On the other hand, Cliff is winning competitions, and he is targeting us. You know, Nick told her that Cliff is targeting them. So she also says Kat would target Jackson. Alright, so Sis says ideally she would like Holly and Jackson to go up on the block as pawns. One of them wins the power veto, and then Cliff goes up. But she feels like Tommy is not gonna put up Holly and Jackson. Yeah, I don't see that happening. And Christie also brings up, what if Cliff is picked to play the veto and he wins and leaves nominations the same? Not great for them. So then, what was I gonna say? Oh, even if it was Cliff and like Holly or Jackson up on the block, Sis is assuming that Cliff would go, but like, not necessarily. The votes could be there to save Cliff. Also, they don't know that there's going to be a third nominee in the mix this week, and that could change everything. So then Christie says that she's not going to give Tommy her opinion unless he asks for it. I don't believe that. Oh my god, that's like the funniest thing I've heard all day. So actually it's not, you'll see. So then they're talking a bunch of shit about Cliff and how he should have taken the deal from Jack. He would have been safe this week, or for 3 or 4 weeks. And Christie was basically like, does he really think that he'll do better than 6th place anyway? He should have just taken the deal. Damn! Okay, so Christie says, these two are so nasty. Christie says that she would love to win the veto and pull one of the pawns down this week so that the other side of the house will know what it feels like to be back where they were. And Sis says, yeah, how it feels to effing feel at the bottom, like how we just felt. The other side has felt at the bottom all season except for like last week. That was the only time that they were like happy and dancing around and felt like they weren't like terrified for their big brother lives. So is it time for the field trip yet? What if the challenge was to sort a bunch of words into 3 categories? Nouns, adjectives, and verbs. Think about it. Okay, anyway, Sis goes over her eviction order. She would like to see Cliff leave this week, then Kat, and then Jackson. We'll see. They hope that there's gonna be a battle back. They would love to see Jack come back. Please no. And Sis is really nervous that during this week alone, Jack will be spending that whole time thinking about his ex in the jury house. What's the difference? He's been thinking about her this whole time anyway. All right, and later she was talking to Christie and she was like, if Kat were to go this week, do you think that Jack and Kat would hook up in the jury house? Oh my god! I thought she said she didn't even care if, like, I thought she said that she wasn't into him, like, in a relationship manner or whatever. I really don't give a shit. So moving on. I just thought it was funny. It's time for Tommy's HOH room reveal. So before they even go in the room, Christie's like, new people, I love seeing new people. Girl, you know you're gonna know every one of those people in Tommy's HOH photos. Give me a break. So they walk in there, they're all looking at Tommy's photos, and Christie's like, your family is hot. Are they single and do they like girls? So guess what? Christie's ex, Tommy's aunt, is in some of the photos. Christie is not. That would have been hilarious and so sloppy, but hilarious. Yeah, but her ex is in the photos. So Tommy also got all of his goodies, his snacks, cereal, owl lollipops from Pop TV. He got some Blue Moon. He got Ed Sheeran's new album as his music. Did Ed Sheeran come out with a new album in the last month or whatever? Like, since they started this season? If he did, I was not aware of that. Okay. He also got a sweatshirt from his best friend's Sweet 16. He said that's so Staten Island. That's hilarious. And he got a letter from his parents and they wished him a happy birthday. That's nice. So then, everybody's just hanging out in the HOH room, checking out all of Tommy's stuff. Nick and Christie are taking a closer look at Tommy's pictures. And Nick is thirsty. He keeps saying how hot Tommy's family is, and Nick is asking Christie which aunt she likes the most, and Tommy is like, oh, they're not single. So then Nick, he just cannot stop talking about the pictures and how attracted he is to, like, all of them, including Tommy. He's like, wow, I'm really attracted to Tommy in one of these pictures. I feel like Nick is bisexual, which is fine, but he's thirsting after everyone, and isn't he supposed to be with Bella? Okay, so then, just to remind you guys, Tommy's punishment is not over even though he's HOH. He's got to complete that full week, and he even had to do a speed of smell while everybody was up in the HOH room. Okay, so then, a little later, they all sing happy birthday to Tommy. and they eat the cake that they made for him. That's nice. And then not long after that, Kat is freaking out. I mean, she was already freaking out anyway, but she decides to pull Tommy aside because she's freaking out that she's gonna go up on the block. And I mean, she should be freaking out because looks like it could be a rough week for her. So she's like, okay, Nick told Nicole and Nicole told me that Nick thinks that you're gonna put up me and Cliff this week. Is that true? And Tommy says, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I haven't told anyone what I'm gonna do. So if Nick said that, that's just what he thinks. So like, chill out. He says, I haven't said anything to anyone. I want to talk to everybody first. Okay, so then after that, Kat is panicking to Holly. She feels like she's going up. She's freaking out, and she's like, I want to go home, but even if I get evicted, I have to go to jury, and ugh, you'd have to spend a whole week with Jack. That sucks. So then Holly's like, well, do you think there's any chance that Tommy would want to target Nick? I wish. But Kat says, no. Obviously, that's not going to happen because Tommy is obsessed with Nick. So Holly is offended that Nick kept saying that Tommy's family is the hottest and most attractive family that they've seen so far. Oh my God, get over yourself. Okay, so here we go. Tommy and Christie, HOH chat. Let's get some info. So Christie says, again, you winning is a sign from the universe that we need to mend fences and stick with the 5 this week. So Tommy says, yes, I believe that. And then we get to hear finally what Tommy is thinking for this week. So he says, you know what? I think Nicole, Nick, Cliff, and Kat all have a Final Four deal. Nope. But he says it would make sense because last week they found out that everything they were saying to Nick was somehow getting back to Kat. So how was that happening? But really, Nick was like spreading info to everyone. Everyone's information to everyone. So it wasn't just Nick going right to Kat. It wasn't like that. He was telling everyone everything. So he's saying that he wants to get rid of somebody from that group of 4 so that their numbers will be less and they can pull Nick in and have him all to themselves. So he's saying that he also wants the 5 to make it look like they're still fighting. They can't all be meeting together this week. He wants to really make it look like they're not working together. And Tommy is also saying that he would like to nominate Kat and Cliff this week. So it is what Nick was thinking. He says Kat is the target because he feels like Kat is really the glue that's holding a lot of groups together on the other side of the house. And if you think about it, she really is. So he says, if we get rid of Kat, that'll weaken Nick's army that he thinks that he has. It'll weaken Jess. It's gonna bring Holly and Jackson back to us. You know, they're not gonna have that connection to the other side as much anymore. So he really wants to make sure that Kat is the one to go, not Cliff. So he would even consider using the veto on Cliff and putting up Nicole. Okay, Tommy is also hoping to make bonds this week that are going to help him in the future. So it's not just about getting rid of a target. He wants to make sure he's set up for the following, for whatever, the rest of the game. So he's planning on using this week to get closer to Jess. And he would also like to put some fake distance between himself and Christie this week. Make it look like they're not really working together. I think that's part of the reason why he was saying, oh, I'm only gonna talk to sis this week about what I'm doing. But like, obviously, he's talking to Christie, he's doing it right now. But he doesn't want everyone to know how close they are. So he also says that's why he voted Jack out this week, because then he and Christie would be on opposite sides, so it wouldn't be like, oh, they always vote together. But I mean, I think it was also to cover his ass, right, with Jackson. So, okay, that conversation's done. Now we know what Tommy's plan is. So now he is taking meetings up in the HOH room. So let me just give you some highlights because this is always exhausting to go through all these conversations. So Cliff goes up there and he's like, sorry for voting out Jack, but he was too strong of a player and I made a promise to Jess that I would vote him out and I needed to stick to that. So Cliff is telling Tommy, I'd be down to work with you. That'd be a lot of fun. And Tommy's telling Cliff, Yeah, that'd be great. You could be going up this week, but you are not my target. And he's even telling him, I would love for you to not be on the block at the end of the week. So he's hinting that, like, even if Cliff does go up, he could potentially come down and somebody else go up in his place. So Kat was up next, and she said the same explanation as before for her jackfruit. Like, I didn't feel like either of them were directly affecting me, but I was trying to protect Jess, blah, blah, blah. And Tommy's like, I can't make any promises to you this week about nominations, but I love you so much. That's not a good sign. So Kat is asking him, is there anything that I can do or say to stay off the block? She's saying, I won't hurt your game, I'll only enrich it. And Tommy's like, I don't know. I need to talk to everyone, and I'm going to consider what the house wants this week. The house wants the season to be over. Okay, so Sis talks to Tommy. He does tell her the plan, get rid of Kat because she's the common denominator in a bunch of groups, but Sis wants Cliff out. So Sis says, yeah, I'm into the nominations. I'm liking Kat and Cliff going up, but she's trying to convince Tommy that Cliff should be the target. She says Cliff was planning on putting us up, whereas Kat will continue to throw competitions, so Cliff is more of a threat. But eventually, Nick interrupts their conversation, and he lets them know that he said in the DR that he has a full-blown crush on Tommy. Who's Bella? So then Tommy lets Nick know that, guess what? Nicole told Kat what you told her about who you thought was going to go up on the block this week. And Nick is pretty surprised to hear that. He calls Nicole a little snake. He didn't know that Nicole was going around and telling people what he said. So that's going to come up again later. But Jess also talked to Tommy, and Tommy told her, I want to work with you. I think you're great. I'm literally obsessed with you. I love you. And he tells her, I'm not naming names for nominations, but Jess is telling him, do what's best for your game. Okay, so then it's Nicole's turn with Tommy, and Tommy lets her know that Kat told him about the Nick thing, about how Nick said that it could be Kat and Cliff going up on the block. So Nick told Nicole, Nicole told Kat, Kat told Tommy, and then that went back around. Tommy told Nick and Nicole. So Nicole apologizes for that. She's like, I'm so sorry. You know, I told her that it was just what Nick was thinking. I didn't know that she was gonna go around and like go to you and ask about it. So she says she learned her lesson. And Tommy's like, it's okay, I love you. You're not going up. I mean, honestly, when something like that happens, I feel like the person that you tell the info to is glad that you told them. So they're like, ooh, this person trusts me with this information. But the person that told you is like, whoa, why are they spreading my info? So, you know, so yeah, Tommy says that he's not gonna put up Nicole this week. And he also wants to try and hook her up with Philip on the outside, who I think is his brother, but I'm not totally sure on that. It's someone from home, and it's somebody who was in his HOH photos. I think it's his brother. So after this conversation, Nicole goes to the boat lounge. She's talking to the cameras, and she is very frustrated that Kat shared the Nick thing with Tommy. She says, I was just trying to give my ally a heads up. I didn't know that she would do something like that. Girl, you don't even know. Kat will share info with a lot of people. So she says, great, now I'm gonna have to do damage control with Nick, and she's gonna have to watch what information she shares with her own allies. So moving on, today, Tommy is still planning on putting up Kat and Cliff. However, the house guests suspect that something is up because Big Brother woke them up early this morning and it didn't say nominations today on the monitors. So they're like, what's going on here? Why are we up so early? And then I think it was like 11 o'clock a.m. the feeds went down for the field trip. Dun dun dun. So they stayed down for a few hours, and oh my god, yo! When the feeds came back, we found out that the 3 house guests that America voted to go on America's field trip were Christie, Jackson, and Sis. So Usually these votes are pretty questionable and iffy because everybody can vote, and let's be real, Big Brother does not give accurate depictions of what is going on in the house all the time. So I can't even blame the casuals for that because they don't know what's actually happening. But I'm pretty sure that this vote was only open to CBS All Access owners, whatever, subscription people, whatever. So it was all live feeders and they see what's going on and they sent a message. So that's pretty exciting. So Jackson is safe. He won the challenge. Sis came in second, which means that she got a punishment, and Christie came in last, which means she is the third nominee on Tommy's HOH week. Oh my god, what is the universe trying to say with that? So yeah, more on that tomorrow because the feeds had like just come back right before I started filming this. So I'm gonna have more details about that for you. Also, is this gonna change Tommy's nomination plans? I'm pretty sure nominations are still happening later today, so if you want to check back later, we will post the nominees in the info box below. But oh my god, what is he gonna do now? This is crazy. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Get ready for the Christie freak out, and until tomorrow, much love.